course, the big news that came out right before the show from Jim Harbaugh, Omarion Hampton is going to be placed on injured reserve. He's got an ankle injury. We don't know specifically what type of ankle injury, how many weeks he's indeed going to be out, if it's beyond the minimum 4 games that he is going to miss. But that's a killer blow. That ground game right now for the LA Chargers, very much in flux, very much in doubt because they got a lot of offensive line issues. So the next men up are Hassan, Haskins, and also Kimani, Vidal. Both these guys under 2% rostered right now in Yahoo League. So if you got $100 of Fab Cash, how much money are you going to spend on Haskins? How much money are you going to spend on Vidal as well? Would you take either of these guys at all? What kind of split are you expecting there in the City of Angels for this Chargers club?
Man, I mean, if I'm really desperate, right, I don't even know the answer because I don't really like either option because I think it's going to be a committee. And I could look like an idiot come next week if Haskins goes off for 120 yards. But the problem is, man, even with Greg Roman calling plays, this is what surprised me about the Chargers. It's been a pass-first offense, especially on early downs. And the offensive line has been one of the biggest disappointments, I think, in all of football, especially the last couple of weeks. So you got a pass-first offense, not a great offensive line, getting a whole lot of push up front. Whew, I don't even know. What about you? I'm going to cop out here.
Yeah, Kimani Vidal is the guy that I would certainly go after. Vidal is a guy that I think is built to handle a little bit more of a rigorous workload. He's 5'8", 213 pounds. He's built like a fire hydrant, built like a mailbox, one of those old like steel ones you would see on every street corner in the United States. He's got more appreciable secondary analytics, a 3.25 yak per attempt. Haskins at 2.60 in that category. Now, Haskins is a big dude, 6'2", 228 pounds. But Vidal, I think, is going to be the primary weapon of choice on the ground. I think it's going to be close to a 50-50 split. It'll probably be like 55-45 Vidal to 1 Haskins, but I would spend a little bit more money on Kimani. I'm not emptying the account. It's like probably $10 to $15 if you're desperate for a running back. Haskins maybe like 5 to 7. Next 3 games, and they got the Baltimore Ravens upcoming. Sensational matchup there as the Ravens are number 31 in rush EPAD entering the week. Meanwhile, they get the Jags after that, number 14 in rush EPAD, then the bye, then New Orleans. And the one strength in New Orleans defense is in the trenches where they're number 9. They're top 10 in rush EPA. So again, don't smash the piggy bank if you got a lot of Fab Cash and you're like, yeah, I need a running back, but there's always another train coming. If you got to spend the cash, though, Vidal's a guy to target, $10 to $15. Haskins just a handful, and that's about it. Let's move on to some better names. Let's start out with Kendrick Bourne. He was the star of Thursday Night Football in a second tour of duty for the San Francisco 49ers. Monster game against the Rams. Again, you had no Ricky Pearsall. Brandon Ayuk is probably not going to see a snap this entire year. George Kittle's still out. Jawan Jennings was out of that game. 11 targets, 10 catches, $142. He was beating everybody, getting space, winning routes, catching everything in sight on the season, and 78.3% catch rate. 108.2 passer rating when targeted with a decent but not great 1.75 yards per route run. Next 3 games for Bourne: at Tampa, number 27 to pass EPAD, Atlanta, number 8, at Houston, number 2. So one matchup decent out of the 3. Only 4% rostered right now. What are you spending on Kendrick the Bourne identity?
If I'm desperate at the wide receiver position, man, maybe like 15 to 20, just because I'm looking right now and you have Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings dealing with injuries that could keep them both out of the lineup through week 6. George Kittle's not coming back until week 7. And in PPR leagues especially, I think he could be a wide receiver 2, at worst 3. And like you said, 142 receiving yards, 10 receptions on 11 targets. 11 targets, man. So I might overspend a little bit if I'm desperate at that position. If the injury bug is biting me at the wide receiver position.
Yeah, look, it's probably like $8 to $12. Again, it's going to be a crowded wide receiver room. Ricky Pearsall may be back in action as early as this week against Tampa. We'll see. Same with Juwan Jennings. By the way, Jacksonville inside the red zone. Nice long reception by Brian Thomas. They're down around the 7-yard line as it is 1st and goal. By the way, Brian Thomas coming alive. 2 targets, 2 catches, 34 yards so far. Travis Etienne gets the ball in the belly, goes nowhere. It's going to be 2nd and goal for Jacksonville. So don't overspend with Kendrick Bourne. He is really kind of a Band-Aid for a week or two, and really that may be about it. Same could be said of this next guy, Xavier Hutchinson. Only 1% rostered right now in Yahoo Leagues. Had a pair of touchdowns. But Horvat, a guy's consistently seeing 3 or 4 targets per game. Is averaging 2.8. He's only number 90 in air yards, number 81 in total yak. At Seattle coming off the bye, which is upcoming for Houston, and then San Francisco and Denver. Is he even worth a buck or two? Or are you saying, hey, just stay there swimming in the free agent pool?
No, I think he's worth a couple bucks, man, right? Nothing that I would break the bank on, but like 4 to 6 maybe, just because I think he could be a red zone favorite for CJ Stroud, especially, if defenses play or double team, or they look to bracket cover Nico Collins. That's where I think Hutchinson could be a stud. He's never going to have 10 targets in a game. That's just not his game. But I think that, I was trying to think of who it was last year. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think he could be a touchdown guy every week. So a couple bucks. I think he could be a red zone favorite for Stroud.
Yeah, 1 to 3 max. By the way, got 2 names left. I'll just go and fly through them real quick. Ryan Flournoy of the Dallas Cowboys had 100 yards. Again, they've had a lot of injuries. CeeDee Lamb, most notably. He's probably worth about $3 to $5 in Fab Cash. A.J. Barner, if you need a tight end, he scored a touchdown in 3 of his last 4 games. Looking outstanding, becoming a real weapon for Sam Darnold in Seattle. I would invest as much as 10 if you need a tight end upgrade. And there you have it, Hawk of the waiver wire in fantasy football.